Why are we always losing in the war games? Like, why does America, Team Blue, always just get absolutely humiliated? It's like even when the United States wins, the losses are so catastrophic, we may as well have just lost with our enemy. The United States is supposed to be the most powerful country on the planet. We have 750 military bases all around the world. We have the world's largest air force, and I believe the world's second largest air force is either held by the United States Army or the Navy. And then third place comes Russia. Russia has a total of about 4,500 aircraft, and the United States, adding all branches of the military together, has about 14,000, maybe 15,000 at this point. Out of the 50 aircraft carriers currently deployed on the planet, the United States has 11 of them, and they are super carriers. None of the other carriers come close. Why do we keep failing in the simulations then? For the past 5 or 6 years, the US Team Blue keeps losing in the fake battle for Taiwan. And like I said before, even if we win, it's a Pyrrhic victory because there's nothing really worth salvaging at that point. And when it comes to Russia teaming up with China against the United States, we keep getting our butts handed to us. And this article is from 2019. Now, of all the dozens, or if not hundreds, of war game scenario that the United States just keeps losing, the most humiliating one is definitely the 2002 Millennium Challenge, in which the United States Navy, or the fleet along the Persian Gulf, gets almost entirely sunk by makeshift Iranian small boats, barrages of cruise missile attacks, and just a lot of deception. Team Red, led by Marine Lieutenant General Paul Van Ripper, so horrendously destroyed Team Blue that they actually had to reset the game because they lost so unfairly. Because, yeah, that's totally something that a military can do when they lose battles, right? General Paul Van Riepen used such unconventional tactics like coded prayers, motorcycle couriers, and he was able to get through all of the fancy gadgetry and, of course, electronic surveillance that the US so heavily relied on. And then with the missile barrages, he was able to take down most of the communications networks. The US lost an aircraft carrier in this simulation, along with 15 or 16 other ships. And it looks like there's two runner-ups for the huge failures of Team Blue in further war game scenarios. One of them was Urban Resolve, testing battle conditions in urban areas in Iraq. We didn't do well at all. And then there was the Pacific Wind, in which we were dealing with a North Korean attack. And yeah, we technically won, but everything was destroyed. So if the United States keeps suffering these huge war game losses, especially when it comes to a teamed up Russia and China, why haven't they done it? Why haven't they directly attacked US interests if we are actually this weak? Here's a fun fact that no article I've been able to find mentions to you. I've only read this in military journals. Team Blue, which is the US, is often given almost unrealistic handicaps and worst case scenarios. We are very often not allowed to hit certain targets, certain areas, or not allowed to use certain munitions, or our communications is already compromised, but we are literally fighting with our hands tied behind our back, while Team Red is given no such limitations. They are allowed to be as resourceful and ruthless as possible. See, unlike China or Russia, the goal in these war games isn't for the home team to win. It is for the red team to find out any weaknesses in Team Blue and then exploit it as much as they possibly can, so that exploitation can be studied and improved upon in the future. The Millennium 2002 challenge gave the US a 20-year head start on drone warfare and how we would be handling drone swarms. General Van Riepen also showed the weaknesses of having such centralized command at certain locations, so now the US military is able to operate in a much more decentralized manner. But there's only so much that can be done with simulations. Fortunately, the US also does a lot of training exercises with their allies. Remember, in 2021, the United Kingdom's Marine Commandos actually forced a surrender of our own Marines in one such exercise. What a lot of people fail to recognize is that the Royal Marines were employing a new, unconventional, kind of more tech-heavy, modernized strategy, while the Marines, the regular ones, ours, were dealing with more conventional methods. And that's a good thing because a weakness was discovered and then improved upon. Something similar happened 8 years ago in 2017 when the US went against all of the other NATO countries in simulated cyber war games. It was called Locked Shields. The US finished last, and I believe the Czech Republic finished first. Fortunately, every single year, these cyber war locked shield games take place. And in 2025, the US finished third, right next to Italy. So, yeah, discovering these failures first before the enemy does is a pretty great thing. And that is most likely why the United States remains the most powerful country on the planet and why NATO remains the most powerful alliance in the history of the world. If you guys want to research such an interesting character, you should absolutely look up Lieutenant General Paul Van Ripper. I hope you guys learned something, and thanks for watching.